This is going to be your weekly soulmate twin flame relationship reading. If it's meant for you, it's meant for you. We're going to take a look at the connection between you and your person. We're going to explore what's going on in both of your headspaces, what's going on within your hearts, and we're going to look at the next steps. I would almost look at this reading as if it's like a conversation between the two of you. You know, what is it that you want to talk about in regards to what you're thinking and feeling and wanting for the next steps? So as I'm filming this, it is Friday. The sun is shining. It does feel like a really nice day. I think the weather's been very up and down. Ultimately, that depends on where you live in the world. But something that I've noticed here in Canada where I live, the weather almost feels a bit like fall. And it feels almost too early for that. You know, it is nice and warm today. I'm appreciative of it. But you do feel little moments of fall trickling in. You know, so you can feel that we're changing. Things are changing. Now, the energies this past week have been very intense. That full moon that we had in Aquarius was really not easy. I'm curious to know how you're feeling. Please let me know in your comments. This has been very tough on relationships, and I mean relationships of all kinds, not just romantic relationships. There's been a lot of anger, a lot of tension, a lot of projection, a lot of things coming to the surface. And we're really at a fork in the road. You know, there's a decision here of how to move forward. And yes, that can be on a relationship level, but even on a personal level. Like, what do you want for yourself? Who do you want to be? Do you want to be in the old energy? Do you want to hang on to that comfort zone? Or do you want to be in new energy that can bring opportunities and energies that are really exciting? You know, the future doesn't have to be scary. It can also be exciting. So in the energy today, especially with the astrology, we're getting a lot of Chiron energy, which is healing, right? Along with Mercury and Venus, it's communication of healing. It's even going deeper in our healing. So you might be feeling healing vibes. Let's take a look at some overall themes and messages for this conversation. And we have, ecstasy, chasing thrills, excitement, and good time. Okay, so ecstasy sounds lovely. Let's take a look at what else we need to know. Shattered. You know, this doesn't surprise me. I'm very curious to see what the next card is going to be, because I'm noticing all or nothing vibes. It's this or it's that. Like, no in between. It's either really high or it's really low. And let's see what this deck says. This one is filled with a bunch of messages. So let's see, what is the message? I find you incredibly attractive. I believe it. The ecstasy is there. The chemistry is there. But I've mentioned this in many readings before, and that is you have to be very careful with high chemistry and passion and lust and ecstasy. I mean, even this card says chasing thrills. I mean, just the fact that we see the word chasing there makes me a little bit uncomfortable, because we don't want to be chasing anything. We want to be in the present moment. We want to, you know, have good balance. We don't want just a dopamine hit, you know, and then a crash. And I mean, if you're looking for a good time and it's a good time and you're happy with the way that it is, then that's wonderful. But if it leaves you feeling shattered, then that's tricky, right? Okay, let's get into the tarot. I've got 2 decks ready to go. We'll have one side. Typically, I say this is your side, this is their side, but you can swap sides if it makes more sense to you. Take it as it resonates, and let's get into it. So in your headspace, let's see, what are the thoughts? What have you been feeling? The Death card. This is Scorpio energy. This is death and rebirth. This is total transformation and change. I think we're going through it. We're definitely going through it. All the Lovers. Deep soul connection. You know, it's a major arcana as well. Like, these are major themes going on in your head right now. This is Gemini energy, communication. You know, It's almost like what I just said about these cards at the top here. There's like an all or nothing or an extreme. And that's actually making me think a lot about Aquarius full moon that we just had, because Aquarius energy very much is all or nothing. They like something or they don't, right? They like you or they don't. They're into something or they're not. You know, they shut that door, man. They shut that door. It's very much like Scorpio vibes even. But there could be this, you know, absolute high of love, and then there could be this energy of like, you know, an ending or a transformation of some kind, right? It could also just mean a decision in love, you know, what to do with the situation. So let's see what's going on in your person's headspace. What are they thinking about? Ace of Swords, truth and clarity. Now this is interesting. How many of you with that full moon in Aquarius had something come to light, a truth revealed? Now, I had people reach out to me to tell me specifically that some things came to light that were quite uncomfortable. And they're processing that information, and you may be too, where maybe something came to light that, you know, wasn't ideal, and you had to ask yourself whether you're willing to accept it or not accept it. And maybe that's something you're experiencing in the next day or so, but that energy is very, very strong right now. Truth. Everything's about truth. Clarity. The Fool. Brand new beginnings. Really nice cards here for something new. Even death and rebirth. It's all about something new, right? So let's take a look at your heart space. So what is it that you're feeling? What do you want to communicate from your heart? And we have the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups is ask and you shall receive. So that's an energy that says, I'm going to manifest the things that I want, but you have to be very mindful that you're not getting in your own way. And here we have the Strength card, Leo energy. We just left Leo season. We are officially in a Virgo season. So there's definitely a change happening here, right? Okay, let's go to your person's heart. Now, actually, before we do that, you've got 3 major arcana here. I mean, we have 4 with the Fool, but on your side, you've got a lot of major themes happening in your life right now. Let's see in your person's heart. What is it that they want to communicate? What are they feeling? 5 of Pentacles. Interesting. In their heart, they're feeling a bit left out in the cold. They're also in a bit of negativity. Judgment. They're struggling with a bit of a wake-up call here. And there's another major arcana. This is about transformation, heeding the call. I think that logically they recognize in their thoughts that truth, clarity, new beginnings are the way to go. You know, it's like important. But in the heart, there are these old wounds, right? Feeling abandoned. Maybe even feeling judged. You know, judgment card doesn't necessarily mean that you're being judged, but just the word itself stands out at me right now. I think a lot of people are dealing with their abandonment wounds right now. Testing people, pushing people. Let's take a look at the next steps. Like, what are the things that you're wanting next in this connection? Temperance. You want patience. You want forgiveness. And even reconciliation, if that's the case. Totally understand. Okay. Wow, the Star card. You want healing. This is another major arcana. I mean, look at this. On your side here, this is all major arcana except this one. You've got some major themes happening. Wow. Okay. Let's see what's going on for the next steps in your person's side. Okay. Oh, geez, this card. It just flew right out the Chariot. Another major arcana. They want to move forward. They do. Wholeheartedly, I believe that. 10 of Cups. See, they want happiness. But what I always say is, you know, it's one thing to ask for happiness. It's another thing to allow it. People have a really hard time not worrying. And you might say, I don't want to worry, but we're programmed, you know. Traumas, triggers, and hurts do that to us. It makes it very difficult to move on when we've experienced so much, you know, so much hurt and turmoil. Anything is possible, though. It takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of time and effort. Let's take a look at the oracle cards. Let's go back to your headspace. A spark, illumination. There's definitely a spark between the two of you. I mean, I think that's the thing, right? That's the ecstasy. That's the excitement of it all. Okay, let's take one from this deck for your person's headspace. Tandem bicycle. See, they want to be a duo. They want to be a partnership. They want to be in unison, collaboration. Maybe you think of each other as two of a kind, you know, two peas in a pod. Let's take a look at the heart space on your side. See what you need to know there. The rainbow, how beautiful. Healing. We just talked about that with the star. Divine intervention, serendipity, divine timing. But here's something I want to point out. That 9 of Cups that was in your heart there. 9 of Cups is asking, you shall receive. It's manifestation. You know, as above, so below. Whatever you're feeling internally is whatever's going to be reflected on the outside. Okay? If you're clear and concise, optimistic, positive, hopeful. Now, I know that that doesn't happen every moment of your day. It's not always rainbows and butterflies. With light, there's dark. With dark, there's light. But if you're not being clear, or you're talking to yourself in negative ways, or struggling in any facet, it will be reflected on the outside. So you have to be mindful of your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions. Okay? Let's take a look in your person's heart space here. Yeah, happening now. You know what I think it is? I think that there's this wake-up call. There's this shift, this transformation that has to take place. Like, your person has to basically take themselves out of any negative thinking or feeling left out in the cold or out of these abandonment issues to make a move or make something shift, right? Let's take a look at, oh, that just flew right out, at the next steps. You want stability, right? You want something to endure. You want something to be solid. So this brings me full circle back to the very beginning. If you're wanting stability, then you have to be mindful of the chasing of thrills or getting really caught up in the chemistry or the instant gratification of something. And that's my beef all the time with, you know, reality shows. I don't mind watching Love is Blind or The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, whatever. I find it very fascinating, actually, from like a human perspective or like a societal perspective. But the one thing about it is that it shows this instant gratification. And I'm reminded of the latest season of The Bachelorette, where Jen is talking about a ferocious love. And you can see the example with Sam. I don't know how many of you have watched that season, the current season. But it's frustrating to me when I see that, as someone who does sessions every day and talks about these topics every day, you know, dating and relationships, that a ferocious love, this thrill, this ecstasy, this passion, this chemistry is not what gives us long-term gain. I'm not saying it's impossible, but when we get caught up in needing this chemistry, needing these butterflies, this intense energy, you know, that's very much a short-term gain, right? We want a bit of a slow burn. We want to take things step by step and day by day, but shows that are encouraging instant gratification give us sort of this false sense of what a relationship is. I mean, if we look statistically at how many of these relationships on TV, you know, go the long haul or last, you know, it's very few and far between. So we have to remember that. So if you're looking for stability, look, there's the answers right there. Temperance is patience, right? And patience isn't waiting on anything. It's about putting yourself out there, learning the lessons, implementation of where you've been, right? Learning the lessons of where you've been, the knowledge you've gained. It's alchemy. It's turning something into something else. It's taking what you've learned from the past, applying it to the present so you have a better future, so that you can heal and have a healthy relationship. When we're rushing from one relationship to another or not taking the time to heal, this is where we get the roadblocks, right? So let's take a look on your person's side, what else we need to know. The White Rabbit. I love this card actually, because we have here moving forward, we have happiness, and it says spark of curiosity. That's all we need, is a spark of curiosity to build on something. That's why we're saying this is about an awakening. You know, it's time to heed the call. There's definitely a message on your person's side here about transformation. It's sort of judgment day. You know, inner knowing, dark to light, going from that feeling left out in the cold to something that's more light. You know, so I do like this energy, very positive. Okay, let's take a Power of Surrender card for each side just to see what we need to surrender or surrender to. And on your side, we have surrender resentments. Holding on to resentments only poisons you. Try to forgive others for their shortcomings and keep moving forward towards positive situations in your life. So here's the thing. I think sometimes people don't realize the amount of grieving that is occurring. Grieving is not just about the death of a loved one. It's about the end of various cycles in our life, whether that be career, boundary issues with family, friends, romantic partners, the ending of relationships. There's so many ways that we can experience grief. You know, there's not a one size fits all. And I think that when we experience endings, sometimes there's resentments that come from it, you know? Also, when we see other people moving forward at different paces, and remember, everybody's on a different timeline. You know, sometimes people can get resentful of others for the work that they're doing, or people can begrudge you. You know, people want to see you do well. They don't want to see you do better. And this is important to understand, that resentments are going to do nothing for you. Anger is going to do nothing for you. You don't want any kind of energy that can poison you. You've got to protect your energy. Let go that old hurt so that you can have new experiences that bring you joy. Let's take a look at your person's side here. What do they need to surrender or surrender to? Surrender to the beauty of the natural world. Take a relaxing break and spend time in nature. Replenish yourself by feeling the beauty and the ecstasy there. Funny, there's the word ecstasy. I've never had that happen where I've seen that word twice in a reading, ecstasy, like that. That tells you something. Maybe the right kind of ecstasy, if this makes sense, is in nature and feeling exhilarated by the environment around us. Not necessarily an instant gratification feeling in a moment, you know? We want to look for the beauty in the world, grounding ourselves, the exhilaration of life in general. I think one last point that I know can be a tricky topic, and that is sometimes we attribute our life happiness to another person. Like, I'll be happy when I'm in a relationship. I'll be happy when I meet someone. I hear it very often where someone says, well, if I meet somebody or somebody comes along, yeah. But like, life happiness starts from within. You start building that day by day and step by step. And you find that exhilaration and then you attract it. You know, you find that ecstasy in your own environment by making new connections and exploring new things. You know, maybe that's going out on a hike or on a trip, or, you know, a new adventure of some kind, a new hobby where you build, you know, you replenish yourself. That's the key here. And so maybe there's a difference between one type of ecstasy versus the other, you know, and you have to ask yourself, which one are you thriving on for your success? I really hope this resonates with you. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me, the link is in my bio. As always, I appreciate your likes, your comments, your subscribes. It really means the world to me. So thank you very much, and I wish you an amazing day.